Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Thomas Paine, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Sam Adams, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin, Benjamin Franklin. These men spoke up for what they thought was right. From their courage came such documents as the Declaration of Independence and the Constitution of the United States. From their willingness to speak what was sometimes unpopular but right, we enjoy such liberties as freedom of speech, the right to keep and bear arms, and freedom of religion. There are those who still wish to oppress our freedoms, and there are still patriots willing to stand up and defend life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. Men like Zeb Bell, who honor our founding fathers and what they stood for. It's now time for Zeb at the ranch, speaking up and defending your freedoms. Brought to you by Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers and all of the other great advertisers on the program. And now, Zeb Bell.
An 89-year-old man in Lansing, Michigan said this to the policeman that picked him up. I never use my turn signal. It's nobody's business where I'm going. Okay. Good morning, everybody. Here comes Kate Smith, and God bless America. Followed by a patriot to call in with our Pledge of Allegiance. Come on, call in. Good morning. And a good morning to you. Zeb at the Ranch, I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, telling you to get ready for a road trip. They've got the safe tires for you at all 7 locations. And don't forget, too, some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Right now, let's go to the phone line and have our Pledge of Allegiance. Good morning. Good morning.
Well, good morning, sir.
Hurry up, let's go.
Yes. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you very much. And right now, ladies and gentlemen, it is time for the weather forecast brought to you by K&R Rental at 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn, right there on the Burley-Paul Highway. You know, with the springtime and the warmer temperatures, and you want to get out and get your hands dirty, you want to get in the dirt and get your garden ready and your lawn and everything, and post hole diggers if you need a new fence, rototillers, power rakes, all of it at K&R Rental. 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn. Number to call Roger and the crew, 678-3122. Right now, here's our weather.
We've got this high-pressure system that's going to be sticking around this week, making it feel a little bit like summer. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 75. Winds out of the west right around 12 miles an hour. Gusts possible as high as 23 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 44. Tomorrow, even better, sunny skies with a high of 80. Mostly clear for Tuesday night, expecting a low of 51. For Wednesday, mostly sunny skies with a high close to 80, and the winds are going to be picking up for Wednesday as well. Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low of 50. Thursday, mostly sunny, 72. By Friday, we do have a slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast with a high of 65.
Wow, and there you go. Thank you, Gina. And brought to you by K&R Rental, 256 South, 600 west of Hayburn, right on the Burley-Paul Highway. They get there early in the morning at 7 a.m. Don't forget, K&R Rental, 678-3122. Wheels over at the station. Let's have this good word for Brad Little.
When electing a governor, character counts. That's why Congressman Mike Simpson is endorsing Brad Little. Mike Simpson knows that Brad Little's word is his bond. Mike Simpson knows Brad Little will protect our water rights from radical environmentalists. And Mike Simpson knows Brad Little will keep the Second Amendment strong. Here's Congressman Mike Simpson.
Brad Little is a third-generation Idaho rancher who will fight hard for our conservative values. Brad will never buckle to liberal pressure. He'll stand up to federal bureaucrats who want to take our water and our land, and he'll defend our Second Amendment rights to protect our families and our property. Brad Little is a tax cutter. Brad Little is pro-life. Brad Little is the conservative you can trust.
On May 15th, join Congressman Mike Simpson in voting for Brad Little. A rancher, a conservative, a courageous leader. Brad Little will be the strong governor Idaho needs. Paid for by Brad Little for Governor. Vicki Risch, Treasurer.
I want to take just a moment here, and I want to thank a lot of people, and I mean a lot of people, that called with their kind thoughts and well wishes. We received gifts and flowers, and if I were to mention all the names, I might forget someone, and I do not want to forget anyone, because Deanne and I want to say our love to all of you for your kind thoughts. I'm a lot better this morning than I have been in the last month, and my poor bride, she really was sick last week, and with that heavy case of bronchitis and whatever else there was, and we had so many people call, so many people send the nice cards and emails and gifts and flowers. That was really nice of you, and let me tell you that both Deanne and I appreciate you. You are the greatest friends in the world. Thank you so much. Don't forget Daryl's Cleaners at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. Oh, I know. You got so involved in the warm weather, you just kind of said, throw those warm coats in the closet. I don't care if they hit the floor. We'll get them next fall. Don't do that. That's hard on your clothes. And then not only that, when it does turn cold next fall, you'll have to go take them cleaned and everything. Come on, do it now. Have them ready for you. And they'd love to see you at Daryl's Cleaners. They do a wonderful job at 1223 Albion Avenue in Burley. The best cleaner in the universe, Daryl's Cleaners. Kevin and Cindy, really nice people. Also, don't forget, for all your heating, cooling, and electrical needs, you know what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about Ramsey Heating and Electric at 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, open 7:30 in the morning till 5, Monday through Friday. And right now, let's consider, with those 80-degree temps that Gina was talking about, yep, you can consider the cooling aspect, along with all your electrical needs at Ramsey Heating and Electric, 2600 Overland Avenue in Burley, 678-0459. Where they provide warm winters and cool summers. Stop in and see them today. I don't often do this, if ever, during political season. I try to be as fair and non-prejudicial up to voting day as possible. But in this case, I'm going to draw a line, and I'm going to really throw a dart at Democrat for Governor A.J. Balukoff. I did not like, and I do not like, the Idaho education spot that he ran on television. I'm just going to say this. I'm sick and tired of our kids. I'm sick and tired of our teachers and administrations and education in general in the state of Idaho being run down. And the verbiage that was used in the ad by A.J. Balukoff really teed me off to the point where he said, Idaho's education is at the bottom of the barrel. Now, do these politicians that say something so stupid, which Balukoff did, do they not realize what they're doing is casting a huge shadow over the children, their minds, their concepts, their own personalities? And they get the feeling that, oh, gee, I'm a loser. I live in the state of Idaho. I'm a loser. And the teachers the same and the administration the same. I don't like it. And I urge you not to like it either. I'm sick and tired of the dim-witted Democrats always in a condemnation of our kids, teachers, and education in general. Anything can be better, of course. But does it deserve to be treated in such a low-gutter manner? No. Absolutely not. Your thoughts, 436. And if Balukoff wants to come on this program, that's fine. I will tell him that on the air. Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, and also their other location at 291 Pole Line Road in Twin Falls. Don't forget, for breakfast, lunch, dinner, anytime, all the time, it's Denny's Restaurant, America's Diner. Wow. And they've added a whole bunch of new items to the menu. And I'm telling you what, you'll never go away hungry. You'll go away with a big smile on your face. Wonderful people serving you at Denny's Restaurant, 611 North Overland in Burley, America's Diner. Absolutely. And don't go away, caller. I'll be right there. I got to pay some bills. You know we're in a heavy time of the year right now. I want to remind everybody, vote May 15th for Kevin Williams, running for state representative, District 27. Kevin is pro-Second Amendment. Kevin is pro-teacher support and education, and he is very supportive of our police and ag economy. Fresh new ideas for a stronger, more productive Idaho, paid for by Kevin Williams for state representative, District 27. Kevin Williams, treasurer. And we also want to acknowledge Leonard Beck wants your vote on May 15th to be District 1 Cassia County Commissioner. Leonard will be your voice on economic growth, protecting property rights, and helping promote education and job opportunities for our youth. Leonard Beck, a lifelong resident of Cassia County, wants to be strong voice for you. Vote Leonard Beck for Cassia County Commissioner May 15th, paid for by the committee to elect Leonard Beck, District 1 Cassia County Commissioner, Devon Rucker, treasurer. Caller, thank you. You are on the air. Go ahead, please.
Good morning, Zeb.
Hey, my friend.
It's so good to hear you're up and going.
I'll tell you what, Keith, I appreciate that. Thank you.
You know, I appreciate your opening statement about turn signals.
Yeah.
You know, my wife always tells me, do you have your turn signal on?
Well,
I know what to tell her.
Now, my wife always says just the opposite. She said, would you please turn your doggone turn signal off? Because I never hear that dizzy thing.
It works both ways.
It does. It does.
I thought that was so cute. It's somebody's business where I'm going.
Well, I'll tell you what, Keith, the older we get, we have problems sometimes with various aspects of our driving. And, Wheels, we got a little feedback on the line there, buddy. And mine is never being able to hear that ding, ding, ding turn signal. And I always have Deanne say, would you please turn the turn signal off?
You know, I've got a birthday coming up the 2nd of June. And every year now, because I'll be 81, but when you turn 80, they want you to take a driver's test.
Yeah.
They want to test your skills. And maybe that's a good idea, but I don't look forward to it.
Well, you know, the older we get, my dad was a classic example of a man that when he turned 80, they should have taken his driver's license and gone to the Robert Street Bridge in Fort Atkinson, Wisconsin, and they should have thrown it over the bridge. He was not capable of driving. He turned into a NASCAR driver. Everything had to be at 80 miles an hour, and he was a special case of where they should have rejected his license.
Well, I agree with you there. It probably is a good idea because we can't single people out. If they're doing it to everybody, that's the law, and I will abide.
Well, I appreciate that, Keith. Hey, listen, you and Nancy, God bless you.
Now, the other comment I wanted to make is about this A.J. Balukoff, or whatever the heck his name is, that he says about our schools and stuff. But he's not the only one that's making false statements.
Well, I realize that. But I had to center him out because of his advertising, and I didn't like that statement at the bottom of the barrel. I think that's a reflection on personality and character and everything else, and I don't like that for our kids.
But on the other hand, we have the the Republican candidate, the businessman that says he is, and he says that we're 49th in education, and that simply is a false statement, and I wish he would get it straight.
Well, on some of his advertising, he put our schools are ranked 48th, but they fail to remember and put into context about all the good things that have been going on in education with some of the classes and grade reading aspects are ranking highest in the nation, as a matter of fact. And I don't care if it's Republican or Democrat. I absolutely am sick and tired of the slamming of education and using it as a focal point, and in the mainstream of their comments, the kids feel like they're less, the teachers feel like they're less, and the hierarchy of education feels like they're less. I don't like putting a shadow over our education. You can be positive and build things up and say, yes, we got to do better, and we can.
almost every one of the candidates are saying, if I'm elected governor, I will cut your taxes.
Yeah.
All except for one, and that is our congressman from the 1st District, who has a good record, and he can put that out there for everybody to see. But the saying they will cut their taxes, it is not their job as a governor to cut taxes.
That's right.
It's their job to oversee the legislative department that they cut taxes.
I got to run, Keith.
Statements like that.
I know. There's a lot of statements this time of the year that wrinkle my fur a little bit. I got to run. I'm running really late. Thank you, my dear friend. Appreciate it. All right. Thank you. Hey, don't forget, living at home by yourself, if you're a senior, can be very dangerous. Yes, it can. It's the loneliness and the isolation, the safety hazards, the potentiality of injuries, poor nutrition. If it was like me living alone, it'd be a Pop-Tart probably 3 times a day. Missed medication. Don't do that. Check it out with Pomerelle Place, a place for senior living at 1301 Bennett Street in Burley, absolutely offering the ability for seniors to maintain their independence both safely and comfortably. I urge you to call them at 677-8212. Pomerelle Place in Burley, 1301 Bennett Street, and the number 677-8212. Also, our thanks go out to Dino Septic Service, and I mean that because we called them, it's been 6-8 months ago, and fast, fair, friendly service. They really care. They really do the job, and believe me, they know what they're doing with septic tank pumping and backhoe services, mainline irrigation installation and repair, septic inspections, liquid waste removal. The list goes on. Dino Septic Service in Burley and Rupert. The number in Rupert, 436-6526, or in Burley, 678-1638, with their big truck smells cargo on the way. Dino Septic Service, absolutely the best at what they do. And real quick, too, calls are welcome, 436-2244. I want to urge everybody that if you got an ache, a pain, a sprain, whatever, recovering from surgery or an accident, the place to go, and I really mean this. This isn't just an ad for a business. This is a testimonial. They help me. They can help you at Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation. 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley. Nick Greenwell really heads up all the physical therapists, and they are excellent with all the exercises and, of course, the hydrotherapy pool. I'm telling you, call them for an appointment today, 678-1191. That number again, 678-1191. Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation, absolutely helping you get back to being you. Calls are welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Something that stopped me right in my tracks, going out of the living room, going to my office the other day, was a story I heard on the news. And I really would like your opinion on this, because I'm going to be very blunt about my synopsis of the story. The Democrats are pushing for 16-year-old kids to vote. Think about that. There is a big push by the Democrats in the D.C. City Council, along with parts of Florida and Georgia, and once this kind of train of thought starts, it's going to snowball. You know it will. They want 16-year-olds to be able to vote. What are your thoughts about 16-year-olds voting? Now, let's keep in mind, a lot of this push came after the Parkland, Florida shootings, the horrendous shootings at that Douglas High School. And a lot of these kids vocalized and were trained and taught how to stand up, do this, and really project to the audience, and everybody sits there on the left and goes, oh, well, we should let them have a vote. 16-year-olds? 16-year-olds? Please. Forming and voting for the future of our country and our laws and the changes of our laws, etc. 16-year-olds. What are your thoughts? Give me a call. 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Now, I'm really scared about that one. I want to hear your opinion. 16-year-olds voting, please, come on. May 15th, re-elect Tim Darrington as Cassia County Commissioner, District 3. Tim knows that Cassia County has a lot to offer with its heritage and history, and he wants to help move the county forward. Tim Darrington has been very involved in updating county policy, reimbursement, and in updating Cassia's software. Re-elect Tim Darrington as Cassia County Commissioner, District 3, May 15th, paid for by the Darrington for Commissioner, Gail Erickson, Treasurer. Your turn. Give me a call. 16-year-olds, come on. This is ridiculous. They can't even make a decision as to who to take to prom. Caller, I'll be right there. By the way, I want to say this. If you've got a good horse, you ride it. If you've got a good man doing a good job for you, you keep him. And you keep a man that is always with integrity, serving you. I'm talking about Fred Wood for District 27 Representative. Vote May 15th to re-elect Fred Wood for that District 27 Representative job, paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood. Steve Westfall, Treasurer. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
As to the issue of letting 16-year-olds vote, it seems to my recollection that when we're juniors or seniors in high school, we usually take that class or are required to take the class where we study about our government and get the facts. You put the kids being able to vote at 16, and they haven't had that class, and then they haven't had a little bit of growing up time when they get a little bit more independent. They're not likely to be as well thought through voters. And I think a little bit of maturity comes around when you start paying taxes too. And so when you get a little older and you're making a little money and you're paying taxes, you start to think about what the government is doing with your money. And I'll tell you, I started out voting one way when I was green behind the ears, and I changed my way all the way around. So I think that it's immature.
Well, it's absolutely nothing more. If the Democrats can't import voters from out of the country, then they're going to use homegrown voters that are too young to make a decision, too young to talk about the economy. They don't care. They couldn't care less. Mm-hmm. Too young to make any decisions about whether we should be involved in a national security campaign against a certain country or whatever. They can't make decisions because they haven't had to make decisions. They are solely responsible and still are minors in their parents' home, and I absolutely would never, ever advocate for a 16-year-old to vote. If I've made somebody mad over this morning, that's their problem, not mine.
Well, I think that that would be a suicide for the states, because teenagers, that's what they are. They just are not mature enough yet in their brain, as well as just their lifestyle, and so. The man is out to lunch.
Well, Chris, I really appreciate your opinion, but I'll tell you something. This is a dangerous slope that we're on right now in this country, and the Democrats are going to do all they can to import or grow through the system voters that are going to lean Democratic. Gimme, 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 I can do this, I can do that, we'll help you attitude, and I'm scared of this. I've got another call waiting, Chris, but God bless you, and thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you. Caller, I tell you what, I'm going to take your call really fast, and then I've got to give away some cookies. Go ahead, please.
Yeah, Zeb, you know what I think? I think we ought to start them out about 8 months. I think that would be a real proper time for people to start voting.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that makes about as much sense.
They have all the knowledge they're ever going to gain at that age.
Yeah.
They can read and write, and They have total knowledge of everything that goes on in this country.
Well, without being facetious, Jerry, why don't you just tell me honestly, when you think you're a great citizen, I know you vote, I know you're a great service to your country, 16 years old, come on, Jerry, that's ridiculous.
Well, I think they're a little bit young at that age. I think they need to be a little bit more mentally developed.
Yeah, quite a bit.
At that age, they're more or less interested in boys and girls than they are in what's going on in the country.
Absolutely. I mean, this is idiocy in its purest form. And again, the Democratic Party leaning towards that advocacy, and I find it repulsive. Jerry, I hope you're doing well.
I am doing well, and I think what they're looking for is more votes.
Yeah.
Any way they can get votes, they're going to try and do it. And that's not the way to get votes. You need people that know what they're doing, take the time to research it out. And there's a lot of people that's a lot older than 21 that do that.
I agree.
There's a lot of people that just go vote and they have no idea what they're voting for.
I totally agree with you. Hey, Jerry, God bless you, man. It's good to hear from you, and I hope you're enjoying these warmer days. Thank you so much.
I think they're pretty nice.
No, yes, they are. Thanks, Jerry. Appreciate it.
May the Lord bless you and every one of them little children out there listening.
All right, buddy. Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
Thank you. Hey, we're going to give away some cookies right now to Sophie's Chatterbox, and Deanna and I have made it a commitment. We've got to get over there to eat one of these days real soon with some dear friends of ours. Hey, don't forget Sophie's Chatterbox, 530 East Street, on the square in Rupert. All the cookies and the pies and the great bakery items, wedding cakes. Wow. And, of course, that restaurant. Delicious. Here's the question. First-time winners only. First-time winners only. Come on now. Be honest. What instrument, listen carefully, I want you to call me right away. What instrument did Jerry Van Dyke play on his brother's comedy show, The Dick Van Dyke Show? What instrument did Jerry Van Dyke play on his brother's comedy show in the 60s, The Dick Van Dyke Show? First person to call with the right answer will receive a dozen, delicious cookies from Sophie's Chatterbox. Quickly call me at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. What instrument did Jerry Van Dyke play on the comedy show, Dick Van Dyke Show in the 60s? What was it? Please, give me a call really quick at 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. While I'm waiting for your call to win some cookies, Idaho needs Nonini. Bob Nonini for Lieutenant Governor. Vote May 15th for proven effective conservative leadership. Bob Nonini has 25 years' experience in local and state Republican politics. He believes in quality, affordable health care and, of course, parental choice in education. Wants to create a positive business climate with limited government involvement. Vote for Bob Nonini for Lieutenant Governor on May 15th. Paid for by the committee to elect Bob Nonini, Lieutenant Governor. Treasurer R. Scott Hogue. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. What's the answer?
A banjo?
Who is this?
Tom Bowes?
Tom, how do you spell your last name?
B-O-E-S.
B-O-E-S. Well, what kind of cookies do you like, Tom?
Carnation.
Oh.
With an English walnut on top.
Well, by golly, don't get picky, but you go ahead, you call over there, and you tell them that you won the cookies and tell them when you'll be in there to pick them up, okay?
Okay.
All right, congratulations, Tom Bowes. And the answer was a banjo. And by the way, Jerry Van Dyke hit a lot of the shows in the 60s, the sitcoms. He was on Andy of Mayberry, and, of course, he was featured a lot on his brother's show, Dick Van Dyke Show. And then also a lot on Johnny Carson. I remember that. He was an excellent banjo player. Caller, good morning. You're on the air. Go ahead, please.
Morning, Zeb. I wanted to comment on your kids in the school and your voting age, if I may.
Yeah, go ahead.
I dare anybody. I'll put any one of our students in southern Idaho to this area because I'm familiar with, but any student at 4.0 against the other student in any other state. Anything. I have that much faith in our young men and women who are struggling to be the best of the best and actually doing their best and can prove it with their grades. And the other I honestly think 18 is still too young to vote nowadays because the maturity level from when you were younger versus when I was younger versus now, it seems like the maturity level keeps going up in age as the generations go along.
Yep.
For the most part.
Yep.
I think the voting age ought to be raised to 21, to be honest with you. But that's just one man's opinion.
No, and Riley, I cannot argue with you. Wheels, watch that feedback, please. I can't argue a thing that you said, but 16 years old, think back to when you were 16. I can think back when I was 16. There was no way that I was qualified to make a major vote in a major election for a president or a governor or anything else. I didn't have a clue, and neither do the kids today.
When I was 16, I thought I knew everything. Then when I got to be out on my own, I realized I didn't know a dang.
Yeah, I know that feeling, man. I grew out of that in a hurry. The older I got, the smarter my dad got. Hey, thank you so much, Riley. I appreciate you, man. You're a good guy. Thanks.
Have a good one.
All right, sir. He's right. Thank you very much. I'm going to talk about a story right now that just absolutely makes me so mad. What's going on in Minnesota with some of the dipstick Democrats back there. That's what they are. Call it what it is. They want to ruin and take away and cancel out our national motto, "In God We Trust." Another niche in the armor, another here. Take this away. Caller, I'll be right with you. Stand by. I've got to tell everybody about Barry Equipment and Rental. Sales, service, and parts, very best. Good people. Talked to Juan last week. He's a great guy. 159 West Highway 30 in Burley, 465 Addison Avenue West in Twin Falls, and in Nampa. 3 locations serving you in the state. Barry Equipment and Rental, and they've got those Walker lawn mowers. Woo! They can cut up a storm. Do a great job. Check it out today at Barry Equipment and Rental, along with all the Bobcats, all the equipment rentals, retail equipment sales. Barry Equipment and Rental, Burley, Twin Falls, Nampa, absolutely the best. You get a hold of them today. Caller, good morning. You're on the air.
Good morning, Zeb. How you doing?
I'm good, thank you.
Can I revisit your blinker subject earlier?
Holy smokes, yeah, go ahead. I don't care.
You know, what makes me really unhappy, and I've learned by sad experience, is I despise those people who go down the road and forget to turn the blinker off. Because we come to an intersection, and I think you're going to turn, and I pull out in front of you, and I've almost gotten in an accident several times, so now I don't trust anybody.
I do not argue with you.
Those blinkers should turn off anyway automatically if they're working right.
Yeah. Here's the deal, and I absolutely agree with you. It's frustrating when they don't turn them on, and it's frustrating when they don't turn them off. Now, earlier when I said sometimes they don't automatically go off if you don't make a direct turn. In other words, I can give you an exact example. There's a place where you turn into Kimberly off Highway 30 where you basically don't turn, but you're kind of angling off, and they will not turn off when they do that. They'll stay on. And but we've got to be more attentive drivers, and whether it's turning them off or turning them on, absolutely help the other guy so they can figure out what the heck you're going to do.
Yeah, because, experiences in life teach us lessons, and you thought, well, now from now on, I'm not going to trust anybody in their blinker. I'll make sure I see them commit to turning before I pull out in front of them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, you're 100% right, sir, and I appreciate you bringing it up. Thank you this morning. Have a good day. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Zach.
There is a senator and a congressman back in the state of Minnesota that are absolutely heck-bent on getting rid of our national motto. They do not want it on our currency. They do not want it put up at any schools. They want it all torn down. They want it off of everything. They say that it absolutely should not happen. We should not have the slogan, "In God We Trust." I'm going to fight back on this every day in my own little way. I am going to try to get either Senator John Marty, who is the head of this stupid movement back in Minnesota, and I'm trying to get hold of the other congressmen also to see if they have the nerve to come onto this program and try to back up what they're trying to do. But in my own little way, at the end of every program from now on, I am going to say my standard slogan, "The way things were are the way things ought to be," and "In God We Trust." I hope it offends some liberals. I hope it offends some of those that don't want that said, because then I will have attained and achieved my goal. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Give me a jingle on the landline if you would please like to hear from you. I want to remind you, re-elect Clark Kaufman as your District 25B representative to the legislature. Kaufman has served on the Revenue and Taxation Committee, Transportation and Defense Committee, and the Resources and Conservation Committee. Honest, hardworking, and capable. Remember to vote on Tuesday, May 15th. Clark Kaufman. Paid for by Kaufman for Idaho, State Representative for District 25 Seat B, Debbie Kaufman, Treasurer. We had him on the program with us this last week. What a great guy he is, and I mean that. Calls welcome. Come on, don't weaken. Give me a call, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. I will say this, and I want you to do your own due diligence and research on this, but I'm going to state this morning that by 3 o'clock this afternoon, former Secretary of State John Kerry should be thrown in prison. Secretary John Kerry should be thrown in prison. Should be thrown in prison. He's acting as a traitor against this country, and I absolutely think that laws are broken, and he should be thrown in prison. He is trying to subvert everything that the Trump administration is trying to do. There has been talk about redoing, reworking, and trying to get some common sense in the Iranian nuclear deal with the Trump administration. But what's John Kerry doing? He's going all over the region, talking to the people in Iran and others and saying, oh, keep it, force it. Yeah, don't listen to Trump. Don't do anything with this administration. That is a subversion and a traitorous act. And I think John Kerry should be thrown in prison with nothing more than bread, water, and ketchup. I do not like this man. Never did. I thought he was a traitor after what he did with his involvement in Vietnam and what he did and said about our soldiers. And now doing this absolutely solidifies my opinion that John Kerry is a worthless traitor against this country. What are your thoughts? 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. Caller, what's your thought on that?
Well, I'm kind of going to backtrack just a little bit on the In God We Trust deal. And just a quick take on this. I believe that a lot of those people that do that, if they just really had the realization that the only reason that this country and this nation even exists is because of the providence of our Almighty God.
Our country and its values was founded upon the Judeo-Christian ethic, and I absolutely will never, and I mean this, sir, anybody that knows me knows I'm saying the truth, I will never adhere to taking that away. I am going to keep saying In God We Trust. I am going to keep saying my Christian values on the radio. Someone that doesn't like it has two options. They can turn the dial or they can come fight. If they want to fight, I'll give them one.
Exactly. That's just the way I feel. I just thought I'd call and give you a quick take on it.
I appreciate your call as always, sir. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Thank you.
You too, bud.
All right. God bless. Caller number 2, I promise I'll be right there. I've got to get these in real quick because we do have a load of commercials. But right now, Wheels, I want you to please play a good word for our friend Representative Fred Wood.
Integrity serving you. Re-elect District 27 Representative Fred Wood on May 15th. Fred has protected the economic value of Idaho's water. Fred has worked diligently to increase education funding and higher teacher salaries. Fred has stood firm for tax cuts and low taxes with a small, efficient government. Re-elect Fred Wood. District 27 on May 15th. It's true. Integrity serving you. Paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood, Steve Westfall, Treasurer.
Thank you very much. It's time for the weather. Caller, I'll be right there. Stand by. Don't forget the weather brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. For your hearing health, call them. Make an appointment today at 312-0957. Right behind the Minidoka Hospital, across from the emergency room. Dr. Pickup, Dr. Mitchell, absolutely the best, and they can help you. Call the number 312-0957. Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. And right now, here's the weather.
We've got this high-pressure system that's going to be sticking around this week, making it feel a little bit like summer. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 75. Winds out of the west right around 12 miles an hour. Gusts possible as high as 23 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 44. Tomorrow, even better. Sunny skies with a high of 80. Mostly clear for Tuesday night, expecting a low of 51. For Wednesday, mostly sunny skies with a high close to 80, and the winds are going to be picking up for Wednesday as well. Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low of 50. Thursday, mostly sunny, 72. By Friday, we do have a slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast with a high of 65.
Thank you very much, Gina. She kind of faded off. There she goes. Great weather forecast. Brought to you by Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Yep. You call them today for your hearing health. They can and will help you. They help me. All you need to do is call and make an appointment, 312-0957, Mount Harrison Audiology and Hearing Aids. Caller, you've been very patient. God bless you. Good morning.
I am very well blessed, I am.
Well, good to hear from you, my friend.
Yeah, I've got a sticker right in my office window, and it says, "In God We Trust."
Yep.
In fact, I think I even gave you one to put in the back of your pickup window.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, I'll guarantee you one thing, it's going to stay there. Well, it didn't because I traded trucks, but I am sorry about that. I couldn't peel it. But I'm not going to ever weaken on this, Doug, and I believe in the Christian principles that founded this country, and if somebody wants to take that and throw it in the trash, they're going to have a fight.
They are. They really are. And what's pushing this is evil.
Yep.
That's the only way you can think of it. They're evil. Maybe they're not unbelievers, but they haven't really studied what believing in God and living a godly life means.
It's one more push. It's one more step on the ladder to take God and Christianity out of our lives. And I'm going to stop right there and saw the ladder off because I'm sick and tired of what they're trying to do.
Exactly. What was it, 2012, when they booed God at the Democrat National Committee?
Yeah, let's just call it like it is. Why feather it? The Democrats have come out against God and Christianity and their party platforms. Yes, it was not that long ago. They've made a concentrated effort to denigrate Christianity. Okay, you want to have a fight? Bring it on.
That's right. And we get over to John Kerry. He's worse than Obama.
Oh, boy.
For injecting himself into places where he has no business doing that.
John Kerry reminds me of a case of athlete's foot. It itches for a while, you scratch it, you think it goes away, and then it comes back worse the second time. John Kerry is a pathetic athlete's foot.
That's exactly right. Yeah, he's like a bad penny. He just keeps showing up.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then one more thing that you haven't touched on today was that news about Rosie O'Donnell.
Well, hey, wait a minute. I don't like criticism like that. I go through things as much as I can. Don't say I didn't touch on it. It's on my list. But I've got about a zillion commercials to do, and I try to get everything in as fast as I can.
I know you do, sir. But right now, we are going to find out if we have a two-tiered justice system.
You do. You absolutely do. You've got a phony one and a real one. The phony one stands up for the Democrats and their policies. It allows people like Rosie O'Donnell to lie and give false names and false addresses and contribute to Democrats, whereas Dinesh D'Souza contributed $20,000 to a college buddy of his and he spent time in prison. This is absolutely ridiculous.
Exactly. That's exactly it. And so we're going to see. Because if we had a equal justice under the law, I could name a lot of people that would either be in prison or in court trying to explain what they did. And we don't have it anymore, and that's very sad. That's the downfall of a nation. It's when you treat an upper class different than you treat everybody else.
Yeah, and Doug, you know as well as I do, you're a good Christian man. You and your wife are just wonderful people. I enjoy being around you. But it's our fault. It's your fault, your wife's fault, my wife's fault, my fault, everybody's fault for not standing up and be more vocalized and tell the bad and the evil in our society to take a hike. We got to do it sooner or later, because I'm telling you what, they're winning.
Well, and it's easier to do it sooner when it's not near as big and near as powerful.
That's right.
It is to do it later when we're the only ones standing and nobody else is standing.
I'm really upset this morning about some of these stories about how these two guys want to take away, in the state of Minnesota, they want to start this and turn it into a national campaign, get rid of In God We Trust, and then the Democrats are pushing for 16-year-olds to go vote. I mean, did you hear what happened over in the UK, the United Kingdom? You talk about how kids are not even qualified to vote. Well, over in the UK, they're taking away all the big clocks with the hands on them because the kids can't tell time.
That right there, I blame that on their parents for not spending time with the kids and teaching the kids the things they should know.
Yeah, they're taking the analog clocks away because they don't know what the time is on the hands, and so they're just going digital. And I'm sitting there going, you've got to be kidding me. And here in this country, I know we have some of the same problems, that they want 16-year-olds to vote. They can't even tell time!
Exactly. Well, I look at it like this. If they don't want anybody to own a gun until they're 21, then why do they think they're mature enough to be able to vote when they're 16?
Amen. And you want them voting for some major issues in this country? Give me a break. Pass the pumpkin truck.
When it's been a long time since I was 16, but it's been about 50 years. I think I was thinking more of girls or where we was going to go fishing or things like that, or how I could get out of work on the farm and go do something. You know,
I never got past thinking about the first subject. I didn't get to the fishing part.
Yeah, I used to go out for sports, so I didn't have to go home and work on the farm after school.
Oh, hey, man, I appreciate your call. Hang in there. Stay tough. I appreciate it. Thanks, Doug.
You bet. Hey, God bless, and everybody, let's do what we can for our seniors.
Amen.
Take care of them.
Amen. Oh, my goodness sakes. Calls welcome, 436-2244, 1-866-927-4587. One more quick note of idiocy as to what's going on in this country that we all should be concerned about. Do you realize that at George Washington University, now remember that name, George Washington University, 75% of the students that go to George Washington University want the name changed. These stupid wet-nosed punk kids want the name George Washington taken away from the university because now they're being inflicted with the liberal thought of, well, George Washington was a racist. George Washington was a slave owner. George Washington was a criminal, so he's not worthy of having his name on our college. What is going on in this country? Next, it'll be, you know what's going to happen, Thomas Jefferson and then Abraham Lincoln. When are we going to put our foot down and say, shut up? Get your education, and then go out in the real world. This is just insanity to me. Don't forget, Terry Kramer wants your vote on May 15th. He's running for re-election as Twin Falls County Commissioner. Twin Falls County is strong and prosperous, and he wants to provide the institutional knowledge to keep it that way. He said there's a couple of real big issues, the current criminal justice system and also comprehensive land use planning. He wants to help be involved in those issues. Don't forget, May 15th, vote for Terry Kramer for Twin Falls County Commissioner, paid for by the Committee to elect Kramer, Treasurer Les Prater. I want to say a big thank you right now to our major sponsor, our Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Thank you, thank you. They're saying, hey, if you're getting ready for a road trip, maybe you're going to go to Aunt Martha and Uncle Fred's in Gunnison, Colorado, or maybe you're headed back to St. Louis or something, get ready for a road trip with the Safe tires from your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. They've got them all. For your car, your pickup, your SUV, horse trailer, boat trailers, whatever, you better stop in there today. And don't don't forget, all 7 locations serving you, also with a free pre-trip safety check. Yeah, buddy, go in and ask for it today and drive safely and comfortably. And the best in brake service, front alignment, shocks and struts, batteries, all of this and more with Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland and Burley. The best, that's right, your Magic Valley, Les Schwab Tire Centers. We're going to have this good word coming up in just a moment for Tommy Ahlquist, and then Wheels is going to play a little tune up to the CBS News. We'll be back in about 7 minutes. Wheels, take it away. Oh, good morning and welcome back. Zeb at the Ranch on a Monday, May 7th already. And by the way, don't forget we're brought to you by our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. All 7 locations serving you with a great big get ready for road trip special. You better get in there and check it out, all the great tires, etc. at all 7 locations. And also some of our great advertisers, including Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Wheels, right now, could we have this good word for Western Waste?
From the canyons of the Snake River and all across southern Idaho, we're always at your disposal. Western Waste Services, we care about our community, our resources, and this great land. Western Waste Services is lending a hand, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services.
Absolutely, get on the route service, and then they'll come by, pick up your garbage. You can stand there on the porch and wave, goodbye, it's gone, it's out of here. They take care of your garbage. That's right, always at your disposal. Western Waste Services. Call them today at 734-6969. Western Waste Services. You call them today. Right now, Wheels, could we have this good word, please, for Brad Little?
When electing a governor, character counts. That's why Congressman Mike Simpson is endorsing Brad Little. Mike Simpson knows that Brad Little's word is his bond. Mike Simpson knows Brad Little will protect our water rights from radical environmentalists. And Mike Simpson knows Brad Little will keep the Second Amendment strong. Here's Congressman Mike Simpson.
Brad Little is a third-generation Idaho rancher who will fight hard for our conservative values. Brad will never buckle to liberal pressure. He'll stand up to federal bureaucrats who want to take our water and our land, and he'll defend our Second Amendment rights to protect our families and our property. Brad Little is a tax cutter. Brad Little is pro-life. Brad Little is the conservative you can trust.
On May 15th, join Congressman Mike Simpson in voting for Brad Little. A rancher, a conservative, a courageous leader. Brad Little will be the strong governor Idaho needs. Paid for by Brad Little for Governor. Vicki Risch, Treasurer.
Don't forget, too, Kent Searle wants your vote to become District 3 Cassia County Commissioner on May 15th. Kent Searle, lifelong resident of Cassia County, has the experience of being a farmer and a dairyman and service to you as an EMT and first responder. And don't forget, he's gained your trust, serving you on the Ag Advisory Committee and the Gateway Powerline Committee. Kent Searle says, together, we can make Cassia County even better. Kent Searle for District 3 Cassia County Commissioner, May 15th, voting day, and, of course, paid for by the committee to elect Kent Searle, Dan Gammon, Treasurer. Also want to remind you, May 15th, re-elect Roger Morley, Jerome County Commissioner, District 3. Roger Morley has always said, yes, we can, when it comes to being pro-Jerome County. He understands local folks and local problems and wants to continue to work for Jerome County with a pro-jobs, pro-ag, pro-people attitude. Re-elect Roger Morley, District 3, Jerome County Commissioner on May 15th, paid for by the committee to re-elect Roger Morley, Lorraine Morley, Treasurer. Woo! Good morning, Frosty Woldridge, my dear friend in Golden, Colorado. You're a sight for sore eyes. How are you?
Well, Zeb, good morning, and yes, indeed, boy, the political arena is heating up, not only in Idaho, but certainly in Colorado. And of course, you have all the he's terrible, she's terrible, he's good, she's bad.
Yeah, right.
I hope everyone enjoys sifting through what these candidates are and what they're going to do and what they promise and then how they stand. And I hope it moves our country forward. Certainly, there's tremendous backlash for immigration going on over in Ireland right now, certainly all over Europe and the UK. There's a lot of folks starting to stand up here in the United States saying enough is enough. For those of you who appreciate Ann Cochran, she's it's www.refugeeresettlementwatch.wordpress.com. She's been coming out with some tremendous information where Americans are saying, no, we don't want any more refugees and we're not going to take them. So I'm seeing a lot of movement, and certainly more and more people are saying, hey, we need that wall down there on the Mexican border to stop the drugs, if not also the illegal aliens coming across. So it's getting pretty exciting, Zeb.
Well, it's getting exciting, but also it's getting very nerve-wracking that the laws, our Constitution, our recognition, and respect for our borders, all of that is going asunder. I am absolutely sickened that caravan and the numbers of that caravan have been accepted into this country for asylum. And a lot of people, the bleeding heart liberals, say, oh, goody, they're going to be accepted here in the United States. Listen. Mexico was a country that offered them asylum, but no, they came here, and the sole purpose, I'm just going to be blunt and say, to get the American money.
That's correct. They came for the freebies, which you and I pay for. And, you know, I'm working on a series right now about the ultimate cost of immigration, and it's pretty sobering. Of course, you and I, the last time, talked about the billions, if not trillions of dollars that we have spent in the last 40 years over the anchor baby phenomenon, where these pregnant mothers, and there are websites to bring them in from China, from India, from Korea, South Korea, coming here to the United States, pregnant, getting to be in their little birthing hospitals in Los Angeles and certainly New York, and they are literally getting that anchor baby U.S. citizenship for their kids so that at any time can migrate into America and then drag all of their chain-migrated relatives over here. India is doing a heck of a scam on that. You'll see Chinese businessmen are buying up land over here, and they're getting their niche. And, of course, you all know that Vancouver is the new Vancouver of British Columbia, Canada. So this thing is huge. At some point, we will not be able to take any more of these immigrants because we simply don't have the systems to handle them. And it's a blatant disregard for the rule of law, and it's certainly a blatant disregard for the American taxpayer and all of us that are facing all the consequences of paying for this boondoggle. And so it is. And one of the things that's very, if not depressing, very sobering, is that those who are in power continue to simply, they just keep smashing us down.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot of gumption and guts to stand up to this thing, because there's extraordinary, powerful sources with a lot of money who just keep this thing coming at us. I mean, if you remember 2 years ago, Obama allowed 65,000 children to come into the United States across those borders. And now the same thing is happening again. I'm telling you, folks, at some point, another 100 million of these immigrants coming into this country are going to break our systems to the point where we will not be able to serve our own American citizens, whether they're black or white or brown or Hispanic or whatever. The systems are going to break down. That is an absolute fact. In fact, some of the people, if you saw some of the 60 Minutes presentations, or even go to Fox News or even CNN, which I try to stay away from, but they're talking about we've got systems breaking down right now, water systems breaking down, medical systems. We can't even serve the ER wards across this country, that's emergency room wards, are not able to take all these people, and the costs are just unbelievable. So there is a limit, and it is going to hit us at some point, no matter what, in the near future.
No, wait a minute. I take exception to near point in the near future. It's here, my buddy. It's here. I am sick and tired of the American taxpayer, me, you, everybody else, being told, oh, we can take everybody. We're the richest country in the world. What's the matter with you bigoted conservatives? We've got plenty of room. No, we don't. Everything right now is shy on to being less for our citizens and the care of our citizens. And the problem is here right now, Frosty.
Well, that's correct. It is here right now. I don't know if anybody has read, several years ago I wrote a whole a series on the hospitals that had been bankrupted in California and Arizona. It was 87, if my memory serves me correctly. 87 hospitals in California went bankrupt because of anchor babies and serving all of the illegal aliens, which number between 3 and 4 million there in California. And the same thing altogether was in Arizona. And again, that's because the former governor of Arizona simply let them come in. That was that gay lady, I forget her name now. She became the DHS head at some point, and of course allowed more illegals to come in. And so you have this now happening right now, where American citizens can't even get served by their own hospitals because they've collapsed under illegal immigration and anchor babies. And so it is here right now.
Absolutely.
Again, you say the richest nation in the world? Guess what, folks? We're $20 trillion in debt, and each one of us, you and I, the American taxpayer, pay. I think it's something like $550 million a day in just interest on the $20 trillion debt.
Yes.
I could look that up or just look it up on Google. But we pay out of our taxpayer dollars every day we go to work. We're paying $50 million a day on the interest to that $20 trillion debt, and that's going to get worse. So, as I said, our systems are going to break down, whether it's sooner or later. They're going to break down because we're simply unable to pay for all of these refugees coming across our borders illegally.
Absolutely. Frosty, give me 60 seconds. I'll be right back. I want to remind everybody about Hanson Mortuary at 710 6th Street in Rupert with Joel Heward, his family, staff, and they serve you and your families in a time of need when there's the passing of a loved one, always with the highest ethical standards with unquestioned integrity. Please write the number down and call 436-5636. That number again, 436-5636. Hanson Mortuary, serving you and your family, and believe me, they know that every life is worth remembering, and they will do the best for you and your family. And Joel Heward also serving you at Morrison Payne Funeral Home on East Main in Burley. Don't forget, to our friends at Ark Animal Hospital, and they're located at 750 21st Street, near Connection Credit Union in Heyburn, and they are a mixed animal practice, meaning big or small, they love them all, they can take care of them all. Dogs, kitty cats, horses, steers, you name it. And don't forget, now's the time to get your livestock dewormed before you turn them out to pasture, and get your pets vaccinated for flies and ticks. All of this and more at Ark Animal Hospital. 678-1177 in Heyburn. They do have the warm hearts for the cold noses. Frosty, I want to switch gears a little bit on a story that I heard over the weekend, and it just makes me so mad that the Democrats, if they don't import their votes, they're going to grow their votes. And now they're pushing in Washington, D.C., along with certain parts of Florida and Georgia, and you know it's going to spread like a cancer, a movement to let 16-year-old kids vote in the major elections. I am absolutely tipping off the chair with this.
You know, it's and especially today, a 16-year-old, truly, when you look at the drinking and accident rates of 16-year-olds, when you look at the fact that there's over 5,000 suicides by teenagers every year, when you look at the fact that there's no cognitive understanding of what really is going on, these are children, and if this voting situation is allowed to manifests itself, we will have non-thinking, non-educated, completely, children that don't understand what they're voting for, and they would actually only vote with their emotions instead of any kind of critical thought. And so, again, whomever is driving this, Democrats certainly are driving the immigration invasion because that's where they get all of their votes, and they're desperate for those votes. The same thing could be happening with the emotions of a 16-year-old voter. And I remember when I was 16, I didn't know up from down. I'm just a kid. It's really a slap in the face to the United States Constitution and the Founding Fathers to allow such an extraordinarily ridiculous thing such as 16-year-olds voting in national elections to choose our leaders. It's beyond me. I don't have words for it, Zeb.
Well, it goes even further than this. It just shows me the stupidity of people that want to be leadership in this country. Let me tell you another story that I want you to respond to. 75%, now listen to that number, 75% of the students at George Washington University want the name changed. 75% don't want George Washington University. They say that George Washington was a racist, a criminal, a slave owner, and not worthy of having a university named after him. There's 75% of these stupid wet-nosed punks that have no idea what happened in our nation's history or the formation of this, the greatest country in the world, and they want to throw George Washington's name off the university.
You know, this is such a skewering of history. First of all, George Washington was part and parcel of his time, and he and these, the rest of it, James Madison, John Adams, and right on down the line, created the greatest constitution the world's ever seen, that the rest of the world has actually benefited from it so dramatically over the last centuries. And the fact is, our Constitution allowed the Emancipation Proclamation. It allowed for women's voting rights and so forth. If you look at what's going on in places like Africa right now, or if you go into places like China or Bangladesh or even Mexico, you would get a real sobering understanding that, first of all, slavery is still going on in Africa. Poverty and misery is still going on in India beyond anyone's understanding or appreciation. That everyone at Georgetown University, or certainly everyone at George Washington University, or anyone in this country, I don't care what their background is or what their race is, need to get down on their knees and thank God for George Washington. Thank God for Thomas Jefferson. Thank God for Ben Franklin. Thank God for every one of those men who either held slaves or didn't hold slaves, because they put into the Constitution the ability to change with the times. And this country has become this extraordinary country because of George Washington.
That's right.
Because of Thomas Jefferson.
That's right.
And for them to do this kind of changing the past, you must remember, we must hold and understand the past in order to ensure the future and the present of our country. Because if we don't understand or don't appreciate the past and learn from it, then we repeat it. And so these students really have no leg to stand on. They're simply empty-headed, vacuous minds that don't understand the history of the past and how to deal with the present, and certainly don't understand what's going to come to the future if they don't do that.
And that empty-headed, vacuous minds concept also goes back to Minnesota with Senator John Marty and others that are trying to lead a charge as of this morning to take care of and get rid of our national motto, "No longer in God we trust." I am so incensed against these liberal Democrats that want to destroy God and Christianity in our life. And now I got another war I want to wage against some people.
Well, I certainly will stand shoulder to shoulder with you on that. In God We Trust has been a part and parcel of our national standing. And virtually most Americans, pray to God virtually every day. I pray every day. I hope for the best. I pray for peace. I pray for happiness. I pray for abundance for everyone. I pray for balance. I mean, I say my prayers every day without fail because I want to put the energy of God into my life.
That's right.
I want to put the energy of God into our country. I want to put the energy of God that brings everyone and all of us together and makes this society, our civilization, so prosperous and so thriving for most people. And I also pray to God for those who are helpless. I pray for the 90, I think it's 60, 70,000 who are living in tents in Los Angeles. I pray for people worldwide to move toward peace. So we need, and I need, in God we trust. I trust in God. And so for me, that's a very personal appreciation. And to lose that, truly, we're losing our culture. We're losing our sense of being here in the United States. And I'm going to stop. I'll stop anybody. I'll fight anybody. And I will fight for In God We Trust.
Absolutely. You know what we ought to do? We ought to write a book together. We'll call it the, let me think of a title here. The Colorado Philosopher and the Cowboy.
And we'd come up with one heck of a book, Zeb, because we've got the years in our belts, under our belts, and certainly under our saddles, and we understand what it takes to be a successful country, a successful state, a successful person, a successful family, a successful everything. Boy, that would be something. There's a possibility we might well do that some point in the future.
I would look forward to that. My dear friend Frosty Woolridge, thank you for taking all these different subjects kind of like in a shotgun approach. You did very well, my friend. Thank you. God bless you, and we'll talk to you next Monday.
Sounds great, Zeb. Godspeed.
Thank you, Frosty. Dear friend, and I mean that, back in Golden, Colorado, Frosty Woolridge. Wheels, could we please have this good word for Bob Nonini?
Bob Nonini, candidate for lieutenant governor, a principled conservative, successful small business owner, legislator, and leader in Idaho. Bob Nonini has earned a 100% rating from the American Conservative Union and received an A+ rating from the National Rifle Association. Bob Nonini, Idaho roots, conservative values, proven results.
Hi, I'm Bob Nonini, and I'm passionate about becoming your next lieutenant governor. Being an Idaho native, I grew up understanding the values of hard work and dedication. Growing our economy means providing quality, affordable health care to everyone. I opposed Obamacare because I know that here in Idaho, we can and will do better. Competition and transparency for consumers is key to keeping our health care costs low. Idaho needs strong leaders who allow their faith, experience, and integrity to do what is necessary in creating a better life for our residents. Experience matters. Experience counts. The choice is clear. Idaho needs Nonini on May 15th.
Paid for by the committee to elect Bob Nonini for Lieutenant Governor. R. Scott Hogue, Treasurer.
Don't forget to vote for Wayne Shank, Minidoka County Commissioner, District 1 on May 15th. Wayne has extensive agricultural and business savvy and has been involved with the Minidoka Highway District, planning and zoning, and the Minidoka school system. There is great opportunity in Minidoka County for future planned growth, and Wayne Shank wants to help. Vote May 15th for Wayne Shank, Minidoka County Commissioner, District 1, Leadership and Vision. Paid for by the committee to elect Wayne Shank, Stephanie Merrigan, Treasurer. Want to also remind you about our dear friend, and that's Clark Kaufman. Representative Clark Kaufman, a Filer area farmer and small businessman, running for re-election for state representative in District 25B. Kaufman has leadership experience with multiple statewide organizations and received the Wayne Meyer Leadership Idaho Agriculture Statesman Award in 2018. Don't forget, vote for Clark Kaufman May 15th. Kaufman for Idaho, State Representative for District 25CB, Debbie Kaufman, Treasurer. And we also want to remind you, when you get a good man for the job and he's doing the job for you, serving you with integrity, you keep him. You vote him in. And that's why we say re-elect Representative Fred Wood, District 27 on May 15th. It's true. Integrity serving you. Paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood, Steve Westfall, Treasurer. Don't forget tomorrow at 9:30 we have a special program in an addition segment to Zeb at the Ranch. It's called Gardening for Idiots. It was named after me. I'm not much of a gardener. And Vicky's Country Garden is the one that puts it on at 185 South, 600 West of Paul. Don't forget that's tomorrow at 9:30. And, of course, the lovely Miss Vicky will answer all your gardening questions. Celebrating 21 years in business, Vicky's Country Garden over in Paul. Number to call, 438-5663. And last but not least, before we get our next guest about ready to lull to go to sleep, thank you, Deanne. Okay, thank you. Lee's Furniture, I'll read that in just a minute. Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland and Burley. Don't forget Jeff and the rest of the crew with all your furniture. You know, you went through the winter time and you were kind of looking at that sofa you got in your house and it's getting a little worn and maybe that love seat or that recliner's not reclining like it should. Hey, look no further. Lee's Furniture, Floors and More at 459 Overland and Burley. What a selection and what comfort available to you to beautify your home. Stop in and see them today. Spruce up at springtime. Lee's Furniture, Floors and More, 459 Overland in Burley. Absolutely the best. Woo! We're going to turn the mic on right now, and we've got a visitor in our studio, and he is running for Cassia County Commissioner. Hello, Kent Searle. How are you?
Great. Good morning, Zeb.
It's been a busy day.
I can tell.
I need to have you push that over closer and, yeah, get real close to it there. Kent Searle wants your vote to become District 3 Cassia County Commissioner. Why do you want to be Cassia County Commissioner?
Well, I've lived in Cassia County all my life. I love Cassia County. I've given a lot of service to Cassia County, and I know there's things that I can do that can help this county progress, and with very good planning and forward thinking, we can make Cassia County even better than it is.
What are some of the, you know, Kent, you have a chance to, you've served on a lot of different boards. You've been with the Ag Advisory Committee and also the, I got to get it right, Gateway Powerline Committee. What are some of the big problems that you see are kind of looming on the horizon for Cassia County that need to be addressed?
I would probably, well, let me go back. A couple of weeks ago, I attended a seminar. It was the Idaho Economic Development Association, and they had a keynote speaker who had written a book entitled 13 Ways to Kill Your Community.
Oh, that sounds like a real innovative, inspirational book.
Well, yes, he said that's the way I could get people to read it.
Yeah.
With that approach. And the number one way to kill your community, he said, was to not have an adequate supply of good water. And I think that is extremely important in our area, is to have that water, because you don't have industry, you don't have farming if you don't have adequate water. And I might mention, that isn't something that the county commissioners have a tremendous amount of influence over. They can, with their planning and zoning, they can make sure that we have ways to get soft conversion where we shut off our deep wells and have, surface water. We pump it out of the river, and so that we can put those pipelines in. But the biggest thing they can have is a relationship with our state government and our state representatives, Speaker Bedke and Fred Wood and Kelly Anthon. They are the ones that can go to bat for us.
Well, let me ask you this then, and we talked quite some time ago about this. Water, and you've got a lot more demands for water going on in Cassia County over the next decade and into the future. You've got people that are looking to move in here. You've got your small little acreage people. You've got more people coming into the city. You've got a farming demand to feed the populace. What are you going to do about water?
Well, one thing that has helped me is the fact that I was on the Burley Irrigation Board of Directors for a few years.
Right.
And we ran into that issue with subdivisions and urban sprawl and how that affects it. One thing that we were involved in that I found very interesting was during that time that I was serving on that board, we were responsible for rebuilding the spillway on the Minidoka Dam.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a real eye-opener for me, because we wanted, and the Department of Reclamation are responsible for it. We lobbied so hard for them to raise that dam 4 feet, and they just wouldn't do it. If we'd have raised that dam 4 feet, it would have given us 40,000 acre-feet of wet water 9 out of 10 years. And probably even more important than that, or equally, was the fact that because it is kind of a leaky reservoir, we'd have had 80,000 acre-feet of incidental recharge that would go out into this area, that would go down to the springs where we're having these water calls and things. Wouldn't that be a wonderful thing? Right now, we're doing recharge on our own farm.
Why did that get stopped, Kent?
Well, I guess there was a couple reasons. There just wasn't the support for it. Another thing...
Wait a minute, whose support? Why wouldn't they be in support of protecting water that's needed? Tell me that.
Well, probably the same reason we can't get dams built on this river.
It's ridiculous.
I would agree. We have enough water in this that comes down that river to take care of Idaho if they would just stop it and store it. That's the problem.
But we give it away to the doggone fish to go to be fed to the seals.
That's right, and that's the problem. There are solutions, and when I was on the board, I know there's projects down in the Boise Valley and things, and the 40,000 acre feet isn't that much water. But it is water. And another thing they could be doing, they used to supercharge the American Falls Dam.
Yeah.
They'd run it another 4 feet, and if they would go in and if they would line that and do what they need, I can't remember for sure, don't quote me, but I think there was a couple 100,000 acre feet of water there, and there's solutions. But I am seeing when the soft conversion started, there were a couple of people in our area, Gar Waymont and Grant Wyatt, very forward thinkers, and they started that 30 years ago. And we started doing that. We would rent water, buy water from BID,
right.
And then we'd shut off our wells, and very forward thinking. And I was so frustrated that was not received with open arms, even at the state level. Now I have seen that change. I have seen our state people step up, and on the water rights, they're responsible for that. Building dams, that's more of a federal issue.
Kent, is there a concentrated effort that's growing like a cancer all across the board right now by the environmental movement they've got the funding, and they seem to have a lot of politicians by the throat to stop any and all more holding facilities for water in the Northwest?
Well, that's what it looks like. I mean, they don't only want to stop the ones we've got, they want to take away the ones we've got.
What can we do to fight?
Well, we've just got to elect the right people there and it's our elected officials that will make those decisions.
But it's not just the elected officials. I maintain on this program that the American public has got too darn lazy to stand up and fight for themselves.
That's right. The American people to be represented, they've got to elect the right people, and then they've got to be out there in front. They've got to put pressure on them, because that is the number one reason that we don't have economic development, is we don't have water.
Yeah.
If you were an industry and you were looking at coming into an area, would you come if you didn't think you have an adequate supply of water?
Well, what happens to Cassia County when you see and hear about the influx of business that wants to come in here, the influx of people that want to come in and move in Cassia County because of the proximity of the interstate to Salt Lake and going north, Idaho Falls, etc.? What are you going to tell them? No, you're going to put a sign out on the interstate that says you're not welcome because we haven't got any water?
Well, you've got to be really careful. And like I said, just a little while ago, as I was visiting with our state representatives, I could see a definite move to help that. Speaker Bedke has been involved with mediation on some of these things, and what we've got to do is, when we have all this talk of water calls and things, we've got to solve those problems so we don't put that message out, because it not only stops those people that want to come in, but I was out in the Hagler area, and they've had to cut down on some acres, and they were saying, so how do we get a hold of the assessor and have our taxes adjusted down, because instead of being irrigated acres, they're They're dry acres.
Yeah.
So that impacts us.
I need to interrupt you because, as you can see, I've got about 197 commercials to do every program. Kent Searle is running for County Commissioner, Cassia County. We'll have more with him in just a moment. Don't forget Let's Ride, 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Open Monday through Friday, 9 to 6, Saturdays 9 to 4. This is where the fun is sold. All the four-wheelers, the side-by-sides, all the accessories to get outside and have some fun. And don't forget they've got a great service department to keep you running too. You stop over and see them today. 270 Highway 24 between Rupert and the World. Let's ride where the fun is sold. And don't forget too, over in that same area, all your life insurance, health insurance, retirement planning, and employee benefits from Cameron and Siemens Insurance, Highway 24 in Rupert. Number to call, make an appointment, take it upon yourself to set it up and protect yourself, 436-4424. That number again, 436-4424. Cameron and Siemens Insurance, dedicated and responsive to your needs over in Rupert, 436-4424. Okay, I want to shotgun this a little bit, Kent. Water, a big issue. What are some of the other issues that you're really not afraid of, but are very cognizant that might affect Cassia County and that you want to help solve as a commissioner?
Well, one thing that I'm very interested in is our county budget. Over 50% of it involves the Justice Fund, which is law enforcement, which is our court system. So it's a big item. And I think one thing that I can help with is the fact that for almost 35 years I've been a reserve deputy.
Right.
I was a reserve deputy before we had the joint the contract with the city. That was before we had 911. And so I've seen how it was, and I've seen how we have progressed. And so I think for an area to grow and progress, you have to feel safe. And you know, personally, from what I've seen, is we're short on some law enforcement.
It's a big county.
It's a big county, and we have the same amount of county deputies that we had 20 years ago.
Really?
And that's an issue, and that's why I respond to calls to back them, because they're too far away. I mean, their backup's too far away.
So basically, is the problem a lack of funding? What is the problem there, that we don't have an increased size of law enforcement?
Okay, well, of course funding. Funding is a problem with everything, and It's a matter of priorities. I've got some ideas. I think that I can find some money that we can do this with. But you don't just need money. When I first started in this years ago, we did neighborhood watch and crime prevention. We did over 50 meetings throughout the county when Terry Bingham was with the county. And you got, 23,000 people out there. And if we can have a relationship with those people that they feel comfortable, that they can call Crime Stoppers, or they have that resident deputy that they feel comfortable that they can call him and say, this is what I'm seeing. Because to solve a crime, a lot of times it's a lot of little bitty pieces. And they said, I saw this, I saw that, I saw that. And then they put it together, and then you can solve some of these things. So I think...
But the onus always falls upon law enforcement and people in the rural area. I've had it happen here. You'll make a call to the sheriff's department, and you can't blame them. They can't be there in 5 minutes. And, police and law enforcement always gets the blame, and that's why I say we have to be diligent patrons of our own safety and security. Wouldn't you agree?
Absolutely. And I just, people will call me at my house. They will call me at my house and say, just a couple of months ago, they said, some people are firing guns up here, and they were all frantic. And I said, have you called 911? And they said, no. I said, you call 911, give them the information. I'm on the way.
Yeah.
As I'm running out to my truck, I get on the radio. I tell them what we've got, and I pick up my son that's another reserve, and we go up there. And so by using reserves, that helps. But reserves, they're trained, but you still need that officer. And so if we can get people to just observe and don't put themselves in harm,
Sure.
just observe, that can help go a long way.
I agree with that, but I also agree, and I'll maintain, and I'll stand up this to anybody, that running in your house, locking the doors like you're locking yourself in your own personal prison is not the answer either. I think people have to be dedicated to being their first line of defense.
Well, and that's right, and I don't recommend this because I might get in trouble, but when we arrived...
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. Put me on the spot. I don't care.
No, I'm just going to tell you what I saw that says I probably agree with you. On this shots fired, we got up there, and the two farmers up there had one of his pickup was in front of the one vehicle and one was behind, and they were stopped, so the people weren't getting away, and then we started, taking names and running, running for checks and everything. And so, I can't really advocate that, but that's one way to solve the problem.
Absolutely. When you talk about Cassia County, there is so much that I'm amazed at, living here for over 50 years, that Cassia County just hasn't boom and exploded. What's been the stymieing point that Cassia County hasn't grown? It's the proximity to the freeway, the closeness and to Salt Lake and everything. I mean, you're living in a God's gift right there.
Oh, it's a beautiful place, and maybe I think it's headed our way. You've got Boise, and now Twin Falls is booming, and it's coming, and that's why planning and zoning is so important. But I might just mention one thing, success. We talked about law enforcement, but emergency medical services.
Right.
I've been involved with that since '84 as an EMT, responding with Declan Quick Response and West Cassia. But I have never been the president of any of those organizations. I've always been a member and supporting. As 911 coordinator, I do have a role. But let me just tell you what happened last night. Well, I'm going to preface this with the fact that in our county, I have seen a unifying effort, and instead of these little clashes you will have like with fire and EMS and basic EMS and paramedics and Lifelight, we have come together. We have a medical control doctor, Dr. Campbell, in the emergency room that has us trained together. As we've trained together, we've grown together.
Right.
And we work as a team. Last night, there was a vehicle headed up to pass Sweetser, and that's about in the middle of nowhere. And their 2-year-old child started to have a seizure.
Oh, my.
And so they called 911, and they were headed back towards Burley. They paged out the Malta ambulance, and we paged them out. Also, all of our EMTs have their own personal jump kit. So we respond a lot of times in our own vehicles rather than go pick up an ambulance or a quick response unit. So actually it was the president of the Malta ambulance, Sherry, she said, got on the radio, and that's why you got to have good communications. He said, tell them to exit at the 245. I'll be there within 3 minutes. So they came back. She was there within a couple of minutes. She has oxygen. She has what she needs. She has training. And what a comfort to those parents to know that there's someone there quickly. And this is in the middle of nowhere.
Out in the middle by Switzer.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they'd come back towards the 245. About 4 or 5 minutes later, the Malta ambulance arrived with more people and more equipment. They were able to transport this child towards Cassia. And so...
What a blessing.
Yeah, I think that's one big plus that we have in our county is our emergency medical services have just really been united in the last little bit.
Kent, I got to pay some more bills. Stand by. Don't forget, Ben Crouch wants your vote to become Jerome County District 1 Commissioner. Ben Crouch said it's time for a fresh approach in Jerome County leadership, and he's the man for the job. Ben has the basic and business knowledge to help to solve problems, and his decisive leadership will help Jerome County. Vote for Ben Crouch, Jerome County Commissioner, District 1, on May 15th, paid for by the committee to elect Ben Crouch, Jerome County Commissioner, Ben Crouch, Treasurer. Also want to remind you I've got one other good word. If I can find that other good word, my book is all falling apart here this morning. And that's, of course, we want to mention about Lori Likely wants your vote. And we're going to talk about her in just a few minutes as I'm having a little trouble trying to put everything back together. While we have a moment with Kent, and I know it's going to be a shorter segment than what we had anticipated, I also want you to tell you why. I mean, the county commissioner's job is a thankless job. You're darned by some and praised by others, but why do you want this job as a Cassia County Commissioner?
Because I really think I can make a difference. I have spent a lot of time in the responsibilities I've had of planning ahead. I think proper planning goes a long way on diffusing some of the criticism. If, as a county commissioner, and this is what I've done in my responsibilities in EMS and 911 and the other things, is I feel I've got quite a little bit of experience, but I'm smart enough to know that I don't know all the answers. And I am not afraid to study. I'm not afraid to ask other people. There are people in our communities that know a lot more than I do about certain things, and I want to bring those people together. In our county, we have advisory boards. I would use those extensively, and I want to have a relationship with the people in Cassia County that they'll come and tell me what they really think, and I want to go and talk to them of how they can do it. And so I think if we plan, it will go a long ways. It's just like with our 911. Right now, we don't shoot from the hip. We're not wishy-washy. We plan ahead right now, and some of this people won't understand, but as we look at the future, we're looking at next generation. We're looking at texting 911. We're looking at going from analog radios to digital. And in our county, we have, in the last 4 years, every radio we bought is digital compatible. And we have started to test on that. And so I think as I involve a lot of people in the decisions, it'll be an easier job, because when you get in trouble is when you don't get the input that you should and people criticize you.
Amen.
Anyway, that's my thoughts on that.
Stand by. I'll be right back for your final words. The lost is found, by the way. Lori Likely's running for Idaho House of Representatives, seat 25A. And Lori's been a part of a fourth-generation ranching family and native Idahoan. Most recently served as president of the Idaho Cattle Association and director of the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. She knows rural communities, and she wants to help. Don't forget Lori Likely running for Idaho House, seat 25A, paid for by the committee to elect Lori Likely, Bill Likely, treasurer. Also, wheels over at the station. May we have this good word, please, for Fred Wood.
Re-elect Representative Fred Wood, District 27. Here's Fred's views on money and politics.
Zeb, 85% of Idaho citizens believe we should have more financial transparency and disclosure in our political system. As chairman of the Interim Committee on Campaign Finance Reform, I will continue to work tirelessly to bring real transparency and disclosure to money and politics in Idaho.
Vote May 15th. Representative Fred Wood, District 27, paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood, Steve Westfall, treasurer.
Thank you very much. We're on the air and just wrapping things up with Kent Searle, running for District 3, Cassia County Commissioner. Kent, I wanted you just to comment briefly, if you would, please, on the Gateway Power Line. And what's the status on that? Can I give you my own personal opinion and
yes,
then respond
go right
to
ahead.
it? I just get the feeling that sometimes property owners, private property owners, are just run over with no thought or accord as to their family, their heritage, and their passing of the property on to their family.
And I would agree. And the position that we took on the Gateway Power project is, if it's needed, it's needed. But it was citing it. Where will it go? And our cry was that it's a public service. It should be on as much public land as it should.
Absolutely.
And also, some property lends itself, even private property. They wanted to go through some prime ag, and we're going, that's not right. And we fought them, but the status and we made pretty good progress. And it's kind of it's still moving a little, but with the current administration, it looks like, from what I'm gathering, that they're backing off on some of the sage grouse issues that they were using as an excuse not to put it on public lands. And so we're thinking that this is the opportunity, and even for Rocky Mountain Power that's doing this would be the time for them and us to come together, and because the political climate is is more towards that.
Okay, I'm almost flat out of time. I've got a weather forecast and some good words, but I want you, Ken Searle, to tell everybody to go vote for you.
Please, everyone, I would appreciate your vote. This is a wonderful county, and I've enjoyed serving these many, many years. Thank you very much.
Ken Searle, District 3, Cassia County Commissioner, vote May 15th. Dan, Kent, stick around here just for a few minutes, and I'll finish paying these bills. Right now, we're going to have a weather forecast brought to you by our friends that are the professionals in accounting services to the Mini-Cash area for well over 50 years. We're talking about Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with the best of tax return preparation, tax planning, financial statement preparation, all of this and more, with offices in Burley and Rupert. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company. And Wheels, the weather, please.
We've got this high-pressure system that's going to be sticking around this week, making it feel a little bit like summer. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 75. Winds out of the west right around 12 miles an hour. Gusts possible as high as 23 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 44. Tomorrow, even better. Sunny skies with a high of 80. Mostly clear for Tuesday night, expecting a low of 51. For Wednesday, mostly sunny skies with a high close to 80, and the winds are going to be picking up for Wednesday as well. Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low of 50. Thursday, mostly sunny, 72. By Friday, we do have a slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast with a high of 65.
Thank you very much. And right now, don't forget Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, and they say thank you for all your business during tax season. Phillips Oaks, Goodwin, Crane, and Company, with offices in Burley and Rupert. I am running so late right now, I want to remind everybody, meet the artist at Mad River Laser on the historic Rupert Square, May 11th and 12th, coming up this weekend. Watch personalization artist Charlene customize your gifts right there in the store. 10% off your gift shop purchases, too. Right next door to the Idaho Youth Ranch, right on the square. Mad River Laser on the historic Rupert Square. Meet the artist this weekend. Don't miss it. Going to be a lot of fun. Right now, this good word for Tommy Alquist, and we'll be back after the news from CBS. Wheels, take it away. Oh my, here we go on a busy week before the primaries, and bear with us, folks, we've got a lot of good people to talk about. Zeb at the Ranch, and of course I'm Zeb Bell with our major sponsor, your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations serving you. Get ready for a big road trip. They've got all your tires at all 7 locations. And don't forget some of our great advertisers like Burley Physical Therapy and Rehabilitation at 1263 Bennett Avenue, Suite 2 in Burley, helping you get back to being you. Wheels, may we please have the good word for Brad Little.
When electing a governor, character counts. That's why Congressman Mike Simpson is endorsing Brad Little. Mike Simpson knows that Brad Little's word is his bond. Mike Simpson knows Brad Little will protect our water rights from radical environmentalists. And Mike Simpson knows Brad Little will keep the Second Amendment strong. Here's Congressman Mike Simpson.
Brad Little is a third-generation Idaho rancher who will fight hard for our conservative values. Brad will never buckle to liberal pressure. He'll stand up to federal bureaucrats who want to take our water and our land, and he'll defend our Second Amendment rights to protect our families and our property. Brad Little is a tax cutter. Brad Little is pro-life. Brad Little is the conservative you can trust.
On May 15th, join Congressman Mike Simpson in voting for Brad Little. A rancher, a conservative, a courageous leader. Brad Little will be the strong governor Idaho needs. Paid for by Brad Little for Governor. Vicki Risch, Treasurer.
And don't forget Scott Bedke, Speaker of the House, State Representative, District 27, Seat A, and he urges you to go vote on May 15th. Scott is very concerned for Idaho and its growth and its prosperity, and he wants you to go to the polls and exercise your patriotic duty and vote on May 15th. Don't forget, Scott Bedke, Speaker of the House, State Representative, District 27, Position A, paid for by Representative Scott Bedke, Sarah Bedke, Treasurer. Also want to remind you, Carl Hansen wants your vote May 15th to be your Minidoka County Commissioner. Carl has the leadership experience as a hospital CEO for 29 years, 18 of which were at Minidoka Hospital, and he's an organizer and communicator. Carl Hansen wants to address the challenges in Minidoka County and help solve all of them, paid for by Carl Hansen for Minidoka County Commissioner, Jason Gibbons, Treasurer. Right now, we go to the phone line. I'm busier than a one-armed paper hanger trying to get everything done, and I have one of my favorite people coming on the program this morning. Not much notice for her or me. Rachel Alexander, how are you?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on. No problem.
No, I want to tell you, Rachel, everything you talk about and write about, I go spot on. I'm very pleased to have you on my program because we need more conservative Christian writers like you. I got to admit that because of the late minute of finding out if you were going to fill this time slot, I did not have a chance to read everything about your article about Google censoring the Christian ads. So would you give me a thumbnail sketch of the story, please?
Yeah, basically what's going on is it's a conservative Christian publishing house called Concordia Publishing House, and they want to take out these Google AdWords, which are based on whether a user has visited their website. So if you visited their website, you could then get a follow-up ad targeted at you. Their website is pretty darn tame, if you ask me. It just sells Christian books and, other Christian things. There was nothing I even saw on there that you could remotely say was disturbing. And Google told them, no, we don't allow Christian sites to do these types of ads. You're in the same category as, ads for adult materials and alcohol, and because we don't want people to be possibly, reminded of this, sensitive topic later.
I am very much offended by the statements that were made against Concordia Press. I have many, many, many books in my office right here on my bookshelves from them regarding Christian activities and other things that are written about. And to think that Google is going to start censoring my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ and my Christian attitude and compare that with some pornographic site, you've got a fat cowboy right now very upset this morning, Rachel.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty outrageous. Those other categories, too, that are banned include gambling, crime, nudity. The other topic, though, that's also banned, and there's a few I didn't mention because they weren't as controversial, but political content. And maybe that will help so, we can fight back because, that's going to upset a lot of other people that plain old political content is prohibited.
When you say that prohibited, who is the discerning factor? Who is the judge, jury, and executioner? Who is the person that's going to redact all the black ink? What's going on here?
Basically, you submit your ad, and then you just get this automated reply back from Google that tells you, no, that doesn't fit in our categories that we allow. It's probably some low-level person at Google that looked it over, and, in this case, Concordia did appeal their decision, and the Google rep refused to send it up for a manager to review the decision.
When you started writing this story, and the headline, Google Censoring Christian Ads, was there anything that jumped out at you that said, uh-oh, look out, this is just the tip of the iceberg and it's going to get a lot worse?
Yeah, and that's just because I've been writing about Google and Facebook and Twitter censoring Christians for a couple years now. And so, to me, this is just more going down that slippery slope where they're going to be banning it more and more. And, this is just one more step in that direction. But every time I do write a story, it seems like it gets worse.
Is there a concentrated effort to go after other religions, whether it might be Jewish, whether it might be even Muslim? Are they doing the same thing as censoring and curtailing, or are they aiming primarily at Christians?
What I think is going on is a lot of the other religions aren't as much into things like proselytizing and evangelizing, and I think, the Christians are the ones who are more active with trying to get their message out. And so, we're definitely seeing it fall on Christians heavier. But I do believe that there is a bias, and I know you and I have talked about this before. These non-Christians, people who run these tech companies, they don't want to be reminded of the Christian religion because they know it is real deep down, and so they especially have it out for Christians.
Do they have, I noticed one sentence here, and it says, when asked, the Google rep refused to send it up for review. My question would be, what do we have, a bunch of nerds sitting there with Coke bottle-type glasses on that say nay to Christians, yes to everything else? What goes on here?
Yeah, I think, you've heard how these tech companies are just dominated by, atheists and people on the left, and, they make the rules. And so I'm sure, a whole bunch of them sat around and they all, mutually agreed, Christian bad, and we're not going to give it a second chance. I mean, I've worked at several tech companies in my past, including Microsoft and GoDaddy, and I can tell you Christians and conservatives, even way back then when I worked there, were vastly outnumbered.
I have heard, and I'd like you to elaborate on this a little bit, I don't have any bona fide truth that this is going on or happening right now, this moment. But, Rachel, I've heard that there are some laws that are thought to be trying to be passed in California, that some of the absolutely nonsensical liberal lawmakers in Sacramento want to ban the sale of the Bible because they say it causes too much trouble. Have you heard anything about this?
Yeah, I've been hearing about that too, and they claim that it's not going to go that far, but I could see how you could interpret the law to go that far.
Well, what kind of a society are we living in where, and I put the onus, and I know you and I have talked about this in the past, I'm putting the onus back in the churches. I'm putting the onus back on the pastor or the church leadership. I'm putting the onus on the congregation because we sit there like a bunch of sponges and they just absorb all this, but they don't do anything about it.
No, and pastors have got to be brave and they have to speak up because, where else are we going to get our message across to people? The liberals still dominate the media, and they definitely dominate education, so they're completely indoctrinating our kids. The churches are the only surefire place left where we can get our message out.
One of the paragraphs I was scamming through here while you were talking about your story, and this kind of hit me in the face. Religious belief in personal advertising, it is seen as legally or culturally sensitive, and places of worship, religious guidance, religious education, or universities, religious products are all prohibited. Why? Why are they so afraid of God's word? Answer that.
Exactly, especially this publishing house. I went all over their websites, and I couldn't even find like a picture of Jesus on the cross or anything, or at least not easily. I mean, it was the tamest looking Christian website, that there is. So again, all it comes down to, in my opinion, is these atheist types that are offended. They don't want to be reminded of Christianity.
What would you want my listeners to take away from your article? And by the way, this would be a great place for you to tell everybody how they can read this article. How do they go about finding it on the stream, and where do they go? Tell us that quickly.
Go to stream.org, and you can find all my articles by clicking on More at the top and then Voices, and my name's right there towards the top. And basically, with this article, we have to fight back. We have to do something. And if you're taking out an ad and Google tries to censor you, you've got to speak up. You've got to get somebody to write about it. You've got to take it up the chain as far as you can go. Obviously, taking it up the chain didn't work for these people, and so they're getting their word out publicly, and they're being forced to do that.
Well, let me ask you, though, and you're so much more advanced in knowledge on this than I am, but let's talk about Concordia Press or talk about any other company that sells Bibles, or maybe they sell crosses for wall hangings in a church or a home or whatever. How are they going to advertise their product when they're being shut off?
That's a brilliant question. You know, they're going to force them into the dark areas of the internet, you know, where no one's going to see their ads. That's what's going to happen because Google and Facebook control almost all of the online advertising now.
So what do we do to fight back? I mean, I will do anything. Your article really has got me up in arms, and I'll do anything I can to support. Like I said, I've got numerous books right here on my shelf from Concordia Press. I will do anything to support them and fight the evil and the filth in this country. What do we do?
Well, besides publicizing it, I think people could do a letter-writing campaign and, you know, send emails to Google expressing your outrage at this.
Okay. All right. Now, can you tell us how we can get those letters sent to the right source? What do we do there?
You know, I haven't Googled that far. Ha-ha, that sounds goofy, Googled that far. But, you know, if you Google, you know, contact Google to protest advertising, or something like that, you know, maybe that will pull up the right place to send it to.
Okay, but then I would also say this, and I want to see what your response would be to this. I think all of us, and I know I'm going to call my pastor right after this program, and I'm going to say, listen, why can't we have more sermons about what's going on today with this kind of garbage with Google, and let people know from the pulpit that we'd better start standing up before we get completely run over.
I love that idea. That's a great thing for people to tell their pastors they want to hear about this type of censorship going on, because you're right. I mean, when I think about my pastor, he never talks about, you know, Facebook and Google and censorship.
This turn the other cheek attitude, it's not carrying any weight with me. I had a good friend tell me one time, I've only got two cheeks. You can slap one and then slap the other, and then, brother, you're on your own. And that's how Christians, I think, have got to act today. We're running out of cheeks.
Well, if we let them, you know, completely squelch us, we're not going to have any lives left. We're all going to end up in jail. So I don't think Jesus meant to turn the other cheek if it meant, you know, you're going to end up completely tortured or put in prison.
Okay, we had just a little problem. Deanna, are we back on the air? We had kind of a blip. I don't know what happened. Hold on a minute, Rachel. Wheels, are we off or on over at the station? Get on the air right away.
Oh, my bad. Yes, I go ahead and I switched to monitor on air, and it seems like we're still on air, so you're all good.
All right, make sure you have your earsets on. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
All right, Rachel, to wrap things up, we had a little, I think, a notice pop on the air, one of those tests. I'm sorry. But to wrap up again with your article, give us the location where they can find this on thestream.org. And you, Rachel Alexander, I really compliment you for your writings. You've really hit a real tender spot with me on this one, and I'm going to do all I can to raise people's ire and talk to their pastors.
Thanks, and there's more coming because, you know, this censorship is a key area of mine, and I'm going to keep on top of it. Just tell people to go to stream.org and click on more at the top and then voices, and you'll see my name.
All right. Rachel, for a last minute of jumping in here this morning, I salute you and thank you. And I've got your article right here in my hand, and believe me, it's going to go to somebody else's hand after this program because I'm going to follow up on this. God bless you for your writing. Rachel Alexander, come back soon.
Thank you so much. God bless.
All right, take care. Nice lady right there. Wheels, what happened there that we were off the air for a few moments?
You know, I had heard the tone for when they do the emergency tones over the TV and the radio. I heard that, and then I heard a little blip too. But
all right, well, I wish they'd pick a much better time to go with that foolishness. It absolutely upsets me. Kent Searle wants your vote to become District 3 Cassia County Commissioner on May 15th. Kent Searle, lifelong resident of Cassia County, has the experience of being a farmer and a dairyman and a service to you as an EMT and first responder, and has gained your trust serving on the Ag Advisory Committee and the Gateway Powerline Committee. Kent Searle says, together, we can make Cassia County even better. Kent Searle for District 3 Cassia County Commissioner, May 15th. Dan Gammon, Treasurer. We've got to gather things up here a little bit, and we also want to remind you about Ben Crouch. Ben Crouch wants your vote to become Jerome County District 1 County Commissioner. Ben says it's time for a fresh approach in Jerome County leadership, and he's the man for the job. Ben has the business knowledge and the ability to solve problems, and his decisive leadership will help Jerome County. Vote for Ben Crouch, Jerome County District 1 Commissioner on May 15th, paid for by the committee to elect Ben Crouch Treasurer. We also want to say thank you very much to a segment that we have on Thursdays, and that's Cassia County School Days, and that's at 10:10 on Thursdays. Thank you very much to A Child's World at 1308 Overland in Burley, and they've got all the baby clothing, all the baby furniture. They've got all the games, puzzles, and the toys, and the 5-piece boy suits. It's all there at A Child's World, 1308 Overland in Burley. And the other guest sponsor of our Cassia County School Days, Ambulatory Surgery Center at 1344 Highland in Burley, for your outpatient surgeries to save you money, like on colonoscopies and, of course, arthroscopic surgeries for your ear, etc. Check it out. Call them. Save money. 677-8888. Ambulatory Surgery Center and A Child's World, bringing you School Days in Cassia County on Thursdays at 10:10. A good friend of ours, Ray Bagby, is going to have this weekend, and I'm going to take some time right now, even though I don't have a lot of time. And I'm just going to brag on his Pioneer Village Days. It's going to be this next weekend, May 11th and 12th, and I want to urge everybody to be there. On May 11th, they're going to have a special day for the kids with special needs, and then on the 12th, all the folks are welcome from 9 to 3. It's free to the public, and it's going to be absolutely a lot of fun. It's called the Pioneer Village Days, sponsored by the Pioneer Hall of Fame, and it's going to be located at 950 East, 153 South of Declo, and they're going to have demonstrations with wagons and the harnesses of the old days, blacksmith shops, buggies and wagons, and you're going to get a chance to see that brand spanking new stagecoach that Ray Bagby and his staff put together. It is unbelievable. They're going to have free wagon and stage rides, old-time biscuit making. Oh, that sounds good for yours truly. Dutch oven food on Saturday for a nominal fee. All of this coming up this weekend. Pioneer Village Days over in Declo. Thank you, Ray Bagby. And Ray's going to be on our program. What day is that going to be? It's Wednesday. He's going to be on the air at 10:06, and we're looking forward to having him on the program. Once again, I also want to remind you about Terry Kramer. He's running for re-election as Twin Falls County Commissioner, and Twin Falls County is strong and prosperous, and he wants to keep it that way. Absolutely, with helping with the major issues of growth and everything else going on in Twin Falls County, and Terry Kramer wants your vote. Experience matters. Keep Twin Falls County strong, prosperous, and successful. Vote May 15th for Terry Kramer for Twin Falls County Commissioner. The best choice. Paid for by Terry Kramer for County Commissioner, Les Prater, Treasurer. Thank you. We have got a bunch on the air, and we really do appreciate everybody being involved in our program. Also, Mad River Laser. Don't forget, on the historic Rupert Square, they're going to have something special going on Friday and Saturday. Yes, they are. It's going to be Meet the Artist. Ooh, watch personalization artist Charlene customize your gifts live. I wished I had talent like this, and she is outstanding. Don't forget, Meet the Artist at Mad River Laser, 502 East Street in Rupert this weekend, right next door to the Idaho Youth Ranch, and 10% off all your gift shop purchases. This is quite a store. I really enjoy going in there. Mad River Laser, they are so sharp, so smart, and so artistic. Don't miss it right there on Friday and Saturday. Meet the Artist at Mad River Laser. Wheels, we've had kind of an interesting morning, and at this time, I'd like to ask your help. Could we please have the ad for Brad Little?
When electing a governor, character counts. That's why Congressman Mike Simpson is endorsing Brad Little. Mike Simpson knows that Brad Little's word is his bond. Mike Simpson knows Brad Little will protect our water rights from radical environmentalists. And Mike Simpson knows Brad Little will keep the Second Amendment strong. Here's Congressman Mike Simpson.
Brad Little is a third-generation Idaho rancher who will fight hard for our conservative values. Brad will never buckle to liberal pressure. He'll stand up to federal bureaucrats who want to take our water and our land, and he'll defend our Second Amendment rights to protect our families and our property. Brad Little is a tax cutter. Brad Little is pro-life. Brad Little is the conservative you can trust.
On May 15th, join Congressman Mike Simpson in voting for Brad Little. A rancher, a conservative, a courageous leader. Brad Little will be the strong governor Idaho needs. Paid for by Brad Little for governor. Vicki Risch, treasurer.
And don't forget Jim Patrick running for state senate again, District 25. Wants your vote to get reelected for state senate position, District 25. Jim, a 40-year farmer, 20-year bank director, understands the business issues and the ag issues in the state of Idaho, including the issues of water, the lifeblood of Idaho. He wants to continue to support you as a state senator, District 25, paid for by Jim Patrick for Senator, District 25. Let's send this back over to Wheels for the bottom of the hour. We'll be back with Speaker Scott Bedke coming up in the next segment in about 3 minutes.
And now, back to Zeb at the Ranch on AM 1230 KBAR. To reach Zeb, call 436-2244 or toll-free 1-866-927-4587. And now, here is Zeb Bell.
I'll tell you what, those EBS systems and everything coming in at this time of the year when we have so many things that we have to take care of, it just really fries my bacon. Wheels, may we please have this word for Tommy Ahlquist, please?
Brad Little is desperate, unable to defend his record of raising your taxes and increasing his pay. Professional politician Brad Little is falsely attacking conservative outsider Tommy Ahlquist. The truth? Conservative business leader Dr. Tommy Ahlquist has new ideas and a fresh approach that will move us forward. Tommy Ahlquist will lower taxes, cut wasteful spending, create more jobs, and enact term limits on politicians elected statewide. Like President Donald Trump is changing Washington, conservative business leader Tommy Ahlquist will shake up the status quo. That's why Brad Little is making false negative attacks against conservative outsider Tommy Ahlquist. Professional politician Brad Little is losing his campaign for governor because he raised your taxes and increased his pay. But if Brad's false attacks continue, he'll lose his reputation too. Professional politicians Labrador and Little, 29 years is long enough. Paid for by Tommy for Idaho, Orville Thompson, treasurer.
Thank you very much. And Carl Hansen wants your vote May 15th to be your Minidoka County Commissioner. Carl has the leadership experience as a hospital CEO for 29 years, and 18 of which were at Minidoka Hospital. He's an organizer and a communicator. Carl Hansen wants to address the challenges in Minidoka County and help solve them. Paid for by the Carl Hansen for Minidoka County Commissioner Committee, Jason Gibbons, treasurer. Right now, let's go to the phone line, and I mean, this is a dear friend of mine for a long time. He is Speaker of the House and also a state representative. Good morning, Scott Bedke. How are you, sir?
Well, I'm doing very well, Zeb. How are you getting along?
Well, we're hanging in and hanging on, and this is a very busy and critical and crucial time of the year as we're just about a week away from the primaries. What are your thoughts about the primary elections in general?
Well, this is what it's all about. I mean, this is what representative democracy looks like, and it's uncomfortable for those that they're involved in it, but I think it's a healthy thing for the citizens at large. I hope that everyone turns out to vote. I mean, that's the thing that gets me is that we have these very important elections, and in Idaho, in our part of the state, the primary is where it's at, and I think it's a travesty when we don't have a good turnout at the polls. We can vote early. We can go down to the courthouse and vote right now, or show up at the polls a week from Tuesday. But anyway, there's no excuse for not voting.
You know, Scott, I'm glad you said that, and I'm going to be probably more blunt about it than you are. I get sick and tired and outraged when I go to the coffee shop or a restaurant after an election and people say, well, I didn't vote, and then they start griping about who won. I am so fed up with political non-involvement that people, they get what they pay for, they get what they don't vote for, and it's about high time they exercise the privilege of voting.
That's exactly right. Bad politicians are elected by good people who do not vote.
That's a good way to put it. What do you look at? You're running unopposed, but let me ask you this. When you look at not only the governor's primary, but the lieutenant governor, right on down the line, there are a lot of people that have paid a lot of good money to go out and publicize themselves to the public here in the state of Idaho, and they all deserve the education by the public to pick the best person, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. There's going to be a lot of turnover this year, and so there are crowded races, and I think that's good from one perspective because that we've got a lot of good candidates, but from another, it's confusing to the people that have got to vote. And I believe I've had more calls this year of people asking me, do you know these guys? And I say, yeah, I know them all. And then we walk through kind of the pros and cons of each of the candidates, and then try to clarify their thinking on who would be best to kind of coincide with their views of the world. It's no secret that I'm supporting Brad Little for governor, and am doing everything I can. I'm just way more comfortable, Zeb, with a farmer from Emmett than I am with the other two, and I just feel like for our area and for the issues that we care deeply about, and these are not just campaign slogans. I want somebody that can make decisions on water in their sleep. I don't want them to have to go and hire consultants or other people to consult with. Brad lives this stuff every day like we do, and I'm just very comfortable with his approach to these types of issues. I knew Brad before either one of us were involved in the citizen legislature, and we worked together on livestock issues and natural resource issues nationally and at the state level before when we were both just cowboys, I guess. And although back in those days they ran sheep, but they've since got out of the sheep business. But I am very comfortable in. I just don't have to worry if Brad's the governor. Another aspect I think that everyone overlooks is that the governor literally makes hundreds of appointments to the various boards and committees and working groups and those types of things. And I'm just more comfortable with Brad's approach to that.
Let me ask you this, Scott, and I'm going to remain generic on this and not mention names, because I'm going to encapsulate it as all the political ads and not mention any one policy or any one contender. But the political ads, in my opinion, this year are more vicious and hate-inspired than they are positive. What are your thoughts?
Well, as I was waiting to come on the air, I mean, I heard the one there that that the references, career politicians and whatnot. Yeah, what Idahoans need to remember is that, we had the legislature meets 3 months out of the year, and from that, and then after that, we are out in earning a living, and so I'm getting tired of them, frankly. I saw some numbers the other day that showed the early voting and the absentee voting is up from where it normally is at this, with 8 or 9 days out. And I think that means that everybody, a lot of people are getting tired of it, and that they've already gone and they've made up their mind. They've gone and voted, and they can tune everything else out after they vote. And so I think it's a necessary evil. But if the citizens were, if the citizens were completely informed and knew the candidate inside and out, then there would be no need from those type, for ads, were negative or positive, frankly. I mean, you and I don't need an ad you and I know each other from way back, and so another ad is not going to help us form our opinion about the other one, and that's kind of how I feel as I listen to these ads. I'm around these guys a lot, and so it just rings a little hollow to me. But ads work, and if there were no ads, then a candidate that doesn't run ads will end up not doing very well. So it's a necessary evil. Am I getting tired of it? I would admit that I am.
Scott, I've got to ask you about this. Again, if we were sitting in my living room, I'd ask you the same question. I'm not going to mention a candidate's name or any party, but I'm going to say that I am really miffed, in other words, teed off, about the denigration of our education in the state of Idaho, and many calling it the bottom of the barrel or this or that. I think it's demeaning to our students, our teachers, and our faculty to keep referring to our education in Idaho as the bottom of the barrel and worthless, and they're out in the middle of Nowheresville. They're never going to go anywhere. If, as a parent, I would be absolutely incensed against these people for denigrating our children. What are your thoughts?
Well, I agree. And, using the public school system as a political whipping boy is getting old, and the criticism is not well placed. For example, the other day I was traveling with Governor Otter, and we were talking about this very thing. And he said, if you want to look at it this other way, Idaho is like number 2 or number 3 nationwide on spending on the percentage of the general fund that goes to public schools. In other words, we are putting a higher percentage of our total tax revenue into public schools than 47 of the other states. I mean, certainly, Massachusetts spends half again more per kid than we do, but I think we're getting good results. We're in year 4. We just set the 4th year budget of the 5-year education plan, and each of those previous 4 years, and I have full confidence that we will next year as well, we put most of the new money that comes into the state coffers back into the public schools. We recognize that that the teachers, that there's a lot of baby boomer teachers, kind of about our age, Zeb, and they're leaving the profession not because of any other reason than it's time to retire. And we've got to make the being a teacher in Idaho be a revered position, and we've got to pay the new teachers enough to get kids to go through college looking to become a teacher, and then we got to pay them enough to keep them when they get there, and that's exactly where we're concentrating our efforts. At the same time, we're kind of refocusing to put an emphasis on professional technical careers, not just baccalaureate degrees at a university. And I think we have a lot to be proud about here. And you know as well as I know that any kid that is in high school or is going through school right now that halfway applies himself can get an education in Idaho that rivals any other in the United States.
Absolutely. And speaking, Scott, I've only got a few minutes left in this segment, but I want to ask you about this because I think it's pertinent of a movement that might come this way to the state of Idaho. There are different states and different regions of the country. The Democrats are pushing for the possibility of 16-year-olds becoming allowed to vote in the national elections. 16 years of age. As a Speaker of the House and a state representative, what are your thoughts about the lowering of the age of voting to that minimal 16?
Well, I'm count me against it. Count me solidly against it for the following reason. I think that you need to have some life experience if you're 16 years old and you're looking at all of these ads and you're looking at all this political, communication, it becomes more of a beauty contest rather than a substantive, issue-driven contest. The decisions that are made, by the state legislature, by the governor, in Congress, etc., are of such import that I would rather people didn't vote than make an uninformed vote, frankly.
Yes.
And I believe that there's so much at stake that I don't take anything away from 16-year-olds because I was once 16, and I thought that I pretty much understood everything at that age. And it even got worse by the time I was 18 and a little older. But now, as someone that is several decades older than that, I understand just how little we did know at those ages. And I think that these types of decisions are so important that, now that's not to say that they couldn't inform themselves and make an informed decision, but, young people vote with their heart. The older you get, the more you vote with your head. And I think we need head-driven votes more than heart-driven votes.
Absolutely. Scott, final thought. Earlier this morning we were talking about Cassia County and growth, and of course the major problem. With growth you have water demands. Do you think that water is the number one, I hate to use the word crisis, but the most demanding issue that needs to be addressed in the future?
Well, I think that it is. We live in the arid West and we have a finite supply. But right now, whenever you see water, whenever you see people posting on Facebook about, standing in front of Shoshone Falls with water going over it, that means that there's extra water that is being released from the reservoir systems up above. Now, they'll catch it at Hells Canyon and in other places. I know that. But water remains and will always remain critical here. Idaho's the fastest growing state percentage-wise in the nation. And that growth is going to bring increased demand on our strategic resources, water being at the top of that list. And so that's we've gone a long ways with the groundwater, surface water settlement to stabilize the supplies in the aquifer, etc. And we can talk about that more if you'd like. We just got a report here this morning saying that this year's recharge program topped 500,000 acre feet. Well, that is huge. And, 5 years ago, we were just, all this water was coming by, was coming down the river. We just kind of waved at it as it went by, and we didn't put it in the ground like we are now. So we're taking proactive steps to stabilize the aquifer and the supplies for all. But as we grow, the conflict, it's a scarce resource, and there's going to be more demand. And so it's just basic economics. There's going to be increased conflict, and so we need to get things sewed up so that the new growth comes in and can't go to the front of the line. It's got to, and with the way our laws are, they've got to go to the back of the line, or they've got to buy their water from someone else that already has it. And so you're spot on. Water always has been and always will be a point of not necessarily conflict, but in the best case, but at the worst case, we'll have conflict, we'll have arguments. But it's all about planning, and again, that's why I come back to Brad. He can make these types of decisions in his sleep. He's lived it, and the other guys, not so much.
We have a quick call before we run out of time in this segment. Caller, go ahead real fast, please. You're on the air.
Well, I just wanted to congratulate the state of Idaho, Scott Bedke, and everything that they've done, because I noticed, and it wasn't on the front page of the paper out of Twin or the one here in Burley, but it was in the back pages showing where we had done close to 500,000 acre feet of recharge. And I don't even think people, unless they understand what goes on with this, that they have any idea what an accomplishment this is. This is something to be commended like you can't believe. And it should have been on the front page. but obviously the people that write the paper don't even have a clue either, because this is big news.
Absolutely.
This is a huge deal.
Absolutely.
If your damn well goes dry, I mean, that'll scare you to death, won't it? Well, hey, 500,000 acre feet of water back into the aquifer is something that I don't even know if there's another state in the West that's even close to what we're doing. Is that right? I'll hang up, Scott.
Thank you for your call. Scott, respond quickly, please.
The caller's exactly right. Idaho is leading the West on this. We have completed our basin-wide adjudication, and of course that led to some of the conflicts here. You had, the surface water folks were not getting all of their water, and that was because of overuse in the aquifer. We manage the water here in the state of Idaho and in the West conjunctively. That means it's hydrologically connected. And so while we like to look at all of the springs that come out of the canyon wall below Prine Bridge and down towards Hagerman, there's that much and more water that comes into the river right at near Blackfoot, for example, and the pumping in the aquifer above Blackfoot had diminished those flows, so the Twin Falls Canal Company was not getting their full water right, and so they made their water calls, and the courts have upheld the water law and said, yeah, the juniors or the groundwater guys have got to they go to the back of the line until the seniors get theirs. Now to Twin Falls and Burley Canal Company and Northside and A&B and all of the different members of the Surface Water Coalition, they said, we will work with the groundwater guys. They're our neighbors, they're our friends, and they're our fellow farmers, and we will work with them, but we've got to change what we're doing. And that includes, so the groundwater guys have agreed to take a little bit less water out. The state has agreed in the same time to put diversion works along the river to get the water back out into the aquifer. And the good news, like the caller says, is it is working.
Absolutely.
We have stopped the drop. And all of the Sentinel wells. Now, the Sentinel well is just a keyhole that you look through into the aquifer, and every one of the Sentinel wells is rising here. We have put over 1 million acre feet in the last 2.5 years back into the aquifer. Now, they're not letting us build new dams on the surface, but we've got this huge dam underground here that we can utilize, and we should be doing it every chance we get. And the good news is that we are, and it's working.
Absolutely.
And it's big news, and it's going to go a long ways to stabilizing the underpinnings of our economy here in the Magic Valley in eastern Idaho for decades to come. It is a big deal, as the caller was saying. And again, I worked. We've been working each year for the last 5 years to lay the groundwork for this legislatively, and I was privileged. Well, it was a big responsibility, but I was asked to mediate the settlement agreements, and so I went back and forth with the groundwater and surface water guys until we got this agreement struck. But I mean, they are statesmen alive and well and in our midst. The guys in the Surface Water Coalition stepped up. The guys in the groundwater community stepped up, and they did what was best for Idaho. And we can be very proud of that.
Absolutely.
And again, all along the way, I had a partner and an ally in Brad Little as we laid this groundwork.
Scott, I'm out of time, but I want to say how much I appreciate. I'm proud to know you. I'm proud of the job you're doing as Speaker of the House and State Representative for District 27, Position A. Scott Bedke of Oakley, thank you for being on the program. God bless, and thanks for your time this morning.
You're always welcome, Zeb.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Don't stop. Continue to remind everybody to vote. If we don't vote, then we're going to get exactly what we deserve.
Amen. Scott Bedke, thank you so much, Speaker of the House. Ladies and gentlemen, right now, this good word for Representative Fred Wood. Wheels, please.
Re-elect Representative Fred Wood, District 27. Here's Fred's views on water.
Zeb, without water, Idaho as we know it would not exist. The Ninth Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in favor of salmon versus power production. As a senior member of the House Resources Committee, I will do everything within my power to stop downstream interests from taking Idaho's water.
Vote May 15th. Representative Fred Wood, District 27, paid for by the committee to re-elect Fred Wood, Steve Westfall, Treasurer.
Real quick, we're going to have a weather forecast brought to you by Scarrows Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. The number to call, 324-7657, or go to their website, scarrowsmeats.com. They have delicious meats, breakfast bacon, buckboard bacon, marinated prime ribs, smoked hams, all of this and more at Scarrows Meats. We'll tell you more about it right after this weather forecast.
We've got this high-pressure system that's going to be sticking around this week, making it feel a little bit like summer. Here's your weather forecast for Zeb at the Ranch. Sunny skies. We are expecting a high of 75. Winds out of the west right around 12 miles an hour. Gusts possible as high as 23 miles an hour. Tonight, clear skies with a low of 44. Tomorrow, even better. Sunny skies with a high of 80. Mostly clear for Tuesday night, expecting a low of 51. For Wednesday, mostly sunny skies with a high close to 80, and the winds are going to be picking up for Wednesday as well. Wednesday night, partly cloudy with a low of 50. Thursday, mostly sunny, 72. By Friday, we do have a slight chance of rain showers and thunderstorms in the forecast with a high of 65.
Thank you, Gina. Brought to everybody by Don Scarrow and the crew. Wonderful, wonderful, delicious meats at Scarrow's Meats, 331 North Road, Jerome. That number again to call, 324-7657. Absolutely Scarrow's Meats, changing the way we eat one delicious bite at a time. Our thank you goes out this morning to our major sponsor of this program, and that's your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers, all 7 locations, serving you with the best in tires for a road trip. Whether it's this spring or summer, get ready right now with the best of tires, best of tread designs for your cars, pickup, SUVs, horse trailers, boat trailers, whatever it might be. You stop in and see them today and check it out. And don't forget, too, they've got a free pre-trip safety check to make sure everything's going to be okay for you on your road trip. Stop in and see Lane and Rupert, Dave on Blue Lakes and Twin, Mike and Buell, Mike and Jerome, and, of course, the Twist family and Paul, Daniel on Poline in Twin Falls, and Randy on Overland in Burley. They are the best. That's not brag. That's a fact. Your Magic Valley Les Schwab Tire Centers. Woo! We are way over time right now. We've got a good word coming up now for Tommy Ahlquist, and then we'll say the way things were, the way things ought to be, and God we trust. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 8:06. Wheels, it's all yours.